what we're going to be doing is I'm going to first stop this application, and then we're going to go into the Python terminal, and you're going to want to make sure that you're in the correct directory, because if you've been working on your app, it's likely that you're within the app folder. And what you really want, because of how I have this application structured with the Python package, is you're going to want to have run.py outside of that package. And so what we're going to do is first install Gunicorn or Gunicorn. And so basically this is going to be something that's going to help us with writing a very simple one-line piece of code that will run our application, basically tell Heroku what to call to actually start up your app. So pip install Gunicorn, and for some reason I always have a hard time spelling it. We're just going to run this. I've already installed it, but on your machine you will do this. And then next what you're going to do is inside of your project directory, you're going to create a new file, and you're going to call this Procfile. And Procfile is what Gunicorn is going to look for. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to type in web:// Gunicorn. And then now is the tricky part, where you'll see a lot of people type like app:/app, but in this case, the first, or on the left side of that colon, is what will be the name of the Python file that actually runs your application. So in this case, I'm using run.py to run my application, so we're going to do run:/app. This is basically telling Gunicorn and Heroku, when you want to start up this application, you need to call the Python file called run. And then once you've done this, that's how we're going to actually be creating our app object, that Flask app object. So once we've done this, we're just going to make sure that we've saved it. And then the next thing we're going to do is create our requirements.txt file. So again, from terminal, we're going to type in pip freeze, and then the less than sign or greater than sign, and we're going to type in requirements.txt. And so what this is going to do, once we sync this file, or it loads, is it creates this thing which basically says all of the dependencies in your application. It grabs what versions they have, so that when you deploy this to Heroku knows what you need in order to actually have your app running on their server. And now what we're going to do, now we have created Procfile and requirements.txt inside of our projects directory at the same level as our run.py file, is we're going to initialize a Git repository here. So you're going to type in git init, and then we're going to click in, or type in git add dot, and this is going to add all of the files to our Git repository. Next, what you're going to do is type in Heroku, or actually, sorry, first we're going to commit these changes. So you're going to type in git commit, and you can do a -a, and there should be a text file that shows up somewhere right here. This is an initial commit for Heroku deployment. Control S to save, and then you can hit escape to close this. And now it's recognized the changes that we've made inside of our project. And now what we're going to do is type in Heroku login. And I will assume that you've already installed the Heroku CLI tool, which you would do for your appropriate operating system. This is a Windows machine. So I'm going to hit enter. This is going to pull up a browser window. And I'm just going to click login right here. And so I saved my credentials, so I don't have to worry about that. But as you can see, it's signed me in now. Close this window, and next we're going to say Heroku create, and if you wanted to give your app a name, you can right here. So I'm going to type in Flask Heroku test vs, and if this name has already been taken by someone else, like if you just tried to use this name, you're going to get kicked back, because Heroku cannot have multiple projects with the same name. So try to choose something that is unique. So I'll use my initials. And so now we've got our Heroku app created. The next thing we're going to do is actually set our environment variables. So in my application, I've got a config file that is saving, the location of my database URI and my email password and username for the application. So this is not surfaced in the code itself, which is the more secure way to do it, because you don't want to have the actual passwords and secret keys out here. But to give you guys one example of how you would tell Heroku your environment variables, the way you're going to do this is by typing the command Heroku config, and I'm just going to paste this in. So I'm going to open up my notepad. Hopefully there's nothing compromising in here. There we go. So it's going to be Heroku config : set, and then this is the name of your environment variable. So in my Windows machine, I've got my environment variables for this project, and then you're going to type in the actual string literally right here. So you don't need the quotes or anything, and you just hit enter. And then when you do this, Heroku is going to add in this environment variable on their side, and then they're going to restart the server. So you can see it's now like v3. And then we're just going to continue to do this with the other environment variables that I have. Those ones are sensitive, so I'm not going to show them, but I will cut back to the video once I've finished pasting in the rest of these. So we're going to do that now. Okay, and so we just finished pasting in all of our environment variables. So I've cleared the screen just so I don't show anything too compromising in this video. And now finally what we're going to do is type in git push Heroku master. And what this is going to do is it's going to take the Git repository that we just created inside of our project and then push this into Heroku's Git cloud. And I want to see what this error message was. Alright, so I think the issue is that I was copy pasting a previous project I had, which already had a Git repository in it. So earlier we saw how it reinitialized the Git repository. In your case, if you haven't initialized a Git repository previously, this is how we're going to work around it. So it needs to be a fresh directory, so you might want to just clone your most recent commit on your repo and then do this. So we're going to initialize a new repo, a fresh repo in our project. Sorry about that. And so once we've initialized this repo, git add all, you're going to get all these messages. And next what we're going to do here is say git commit. Our editor will come up. I'll say this initializes the Heroku repo for Flask deployment. Save that, close that. That's beautiful. And now what we're going to do, because it's great, we always have problems, is create our Heroku app in here. So I'm just going to repeat the steps we just did. So this is a great learning reinforcement opportunity. Heroku login. And y'all shouldn't have this issue when you do it. So this guy log in. Excellent. Signed in to Heroku. Now we're going to Heroku create vs Heroku Flask test. Oof. Oh. Okay, we're going to create our Heroku app again. Created our Heroku app. We're going to now set our environment variables. I'm going to cut this part out of the video. Okay, so now I've cleared my screen so you can't see all my compromising material on this one. And now we're going to do a git push Heroku master. This is now going to push everything in our local Git repository up to Heroku's servers. And we can see it's successfully working now. and we can see it's now finished deploying our app. And then the other cool thing you can do at the end is instead of clicking on this link, you can just hit Heroku open, or type in that command in your terminal. And you can now see that your app is live. So that is gorgeous. So this is how you deploy your Flask application to Heroku. Another command that is quite useful during this process is if you run into internal server errors on your app, you can type in Heroku logs -- tail, and this will give you back the Heroku logs. And so if you got errors or if your app failed for whatever reason, you can usually look through here to see like what is going on that's causing these issues. When you're done looking at your Heroku logs, by the way, you just hit Control-C and then yes to terminate your batch job. And then congratulations, your Python Flask application is now deployed to Heroku, and people can see it by going to this website, which I think is really, really awesome. And thank you all for watching. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions, and take care.